really sort of broad question.
Right.
How did you study for business studies?
Business, I was very dedicated. You have to be so dedicated to do well, but business is a subject, if you really put your mind to it, you can do so well, because a lot of it is just memorization, knowing your stuff, and doing the practice essays and doing everything. So at the beginning,
So it's hard work,
but there's always room to do so well, because it's such a kind of subject that if you know it, you'll do well. It's not like maths where it's a bit more challenging, but I guess I started out by just making notes on everything. I did broad notes to start with, and then which had under every syllabus point had information saying about that particular thing, just from the textbook basically.
So do you use one textbook or multiple textbooks for that broad set of notes?
One textbook, and I did get some advice from my teacher and sent them to her saying, am I missing out on anything? Is this fine? And then when she'd okayed it, I made even smaller notes. So then I had my big notes with the large, lots of information, and then I had my other notes with just kind of dot points, for under certain things, just certain words that can trigger things, and you'd be like, oh, okay, and then remember that.
So you'd, just to sort of put that in a bit of a summary, you'd take your large notes and you'd summarise. You'd still use syllabus dot points as your structure in your summary notes. But then instead of taking the large chunks of information, you break them down into more concise dot points.
Yeah. And then, but you still should know the big notes first. Just keep reading those over. And then once you think you know all the information, that's when you
cut it down. And so then your sort of summary notes act more as trigger points then, is that right?
Yeah.
For the sort of wider information that you had on your first set of notes.
Yeah.
Now, a question on that, because I know a lot of students know they need to take notes, but one of the big things they struggle with is knowing what to actually write down in their notes. So they read a textbook and they end up just replicating the textbook as their notes.
I found that I did that quite a bit at the beginning, and then after hours of making these notes, I was like, okay, now it's time to get concise, because a lot of the stuff in the textbook, there's just a lot of fluff and try and explain it, but to get the actual what you really need, it's hard, but I think you just have to keep reading it over until you're just like, how would I say this in one sentence? If I had to pick a sentence, how would I say it?
So a couple of quick things I think from drawing what you said is read it first. So read the textbook chapter first, get a broad overview.
Yeah. Then
put in your own words, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And use limiting questions like, if I had to put it in one sentence, what would I write?
Yeah.
So that's an effective way for a student to sort of take a chapter and actually make it more concise. And obviously, from what you said, use the syllabus as the guideline throughout that process. So you've made your notes.
Yep.
You made your summary notes.
Yep.
What do you do then?
Well, for business studies, a lot of it is about knowing your syllabus. My biggest thing was actually for all of the whole entire paper, if you know your syllabus, I swear you could get a 60. Just because...
So not even knowing the content, just knowing
the syllabus, because a lot of the questions are I'm trying to think of an example, it's been a long time, but what are some skills of management? All the syllabus points, all the syllabus points are just the skills, so if you even just mention one, there's a point.
You're getting a mark.
You're getting at least a mark. I mean, if you don't, you have to explain it obviously, but if you just know it, at least you know something. So what my friend and I did, we just literally got a blank, we got the syllabus and then just wrote a heading like the skills of management, blank, 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 and we had to fill it out. So if you do that, it seriously is...
So you were pretty much, as a starting point, memorising the syllabus.
Yeah, definitely. As for everything. And just even for the essays and stuff. For an essay, because they'd be explain... sorry, I'm trying to think of an exact example. What are the types of funding for this? Is it internal, external? And under that heading would have pretty much the whole answer, because you could have internal, sources of funding and external sources of funding. And if you just go under, think about those, you can at least get those marks for.
So syllabus, very important.
Extreme. For business, so important. I can't stress it enough.
So you've made your notes.
Yeah.
and you've learnt the syllabus, because that
Yeah.
was the second thing you essentially did.
Yeah.
What did you then do after that?
After that, I did probably like hundreds of past papers. You know, have past
Throughout the year, or?
throughout. You really should do it throughout the year, because I find that if you really worked on something really hard for, you know, in term 1, in term 3 it'll be easier to go back to. And
Because it's more in your long-term memory, is that right?
And if you just keep repeating it, even in going over term 1 stuff in term 2, even though it's not the main focus, it's like really important just to keep on going over and over, so it's kind of still in your brain.
So consistently then, would you do 1 or 2 sort of past papers a week, that sort of extent, or just sort of certain questions relating to the topic you were doing?
Yeah, because we hadn't like learned all the stuff in term 1 or the previous term, so I do particular questions.
Weekly?
Definitely weekly. Probably about short answer. I probably do like 5 short answer a week, and definitely not 1 extended response a week, but maybe every like 3 weeks I do 1 or 2.
So basically, you were just getting that practice in throughout the year.
Yeah.
I guess building familiarity with all the possible short answer questions.
Yeah.
Building, it sounds like a bit of a stack of practice essays covering the topic. So when it came to trial, HSC,
Yeah.
you were pretty well equipped.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
it just like cuts down your study time so much when you have to get to trials, and you feel so much when you feel more confident from doing it previously. Then you feel just when you're studying it, you're like, yes, I know this. You know, you feel like more determined, and that's, you know, makes you more motivated when you feel like you understand. And giving it to your teachers, like my teacher was my life. Like she was getting so annoyed at me probably because I gave her so much
Just keep
stuff.
on giving it.
Yeah, but it like showed out in my marks so much. So
Excellent. And that was for the essay. So also short answers. You just give her both for marking.
Yeah, I gave her everything, and even doing multiple choice, doing like. In class, we do lots of past papers, so just doing a quick 20 multiple choice and just
getting them marked.
Getting them marked and going over them, asking, and it's really important to ask why you got them wrong, because if you don't know why you got them wrong, then I'd make the same mistakes if I never asked.
So with, just on that point, actually I was going to ask you, so when you were doing these practice short answer questions and in your essays, you know, you said you were giving them to your teacher and getting them marked. Were you then going back and redoing them to improve with the feedback, or were you just looking at it, understanding, and then using it and applying it for the future?
Some of them that were like completely wrong kind of thing, I redo. But if there was just kind of a comment saying you lost a mark because you didn't fully explain the implications of this, then I'd just be like, oh, okay, I understand. I'll do another question similar and improve that way as well.
All right, excellent. So really consistent work was very much the key by the sounds of it. A question I did have is that when you were doing your sort of short answer questions, did you do an open book, so with your notes, or closed book from memory?
At the start, when like I was kind of a little shaky on my notes, I do them from my notes, just because if you do with like open notes and then you get them marked, you can see where like the gaps in your notes are easily. Because if you did them with a textbook, usually like if you go back to your notes and the information is not going to be in the notes, so you're not going to have it for next time or to relearn, or so it's really important just to do it from the notes to start and then go back.
And then as you get more comfortable, reduce your reliance on the notes?
Yeah, doing it without notes I think is really important, because a lot of my friends did it with notes, and I think when they got to the actual exams they really struggled because they're kind of relying on like quickly going back and check and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.